Hello, everyone. My name is Mark LeBlanc, and I happen to be the chairman of Indie Books International. And along with my business partner, Henry DeVries, we thank you and we welcome you for joining us for this weekly podcast, whether you are with us live or whether you are watching the recording at a later date. So thank you very much. We are based out of Oceanside, California. And to date, I think we have worked with and supported some 150 or so authors of nonfiction business books. We have a rather unique business philosophy in terms of writing the right book. A lot of authors, emerging or otherwise, are focused on the goal of writing a book. We tend to come at it from a little different perspective. We believe that your book or book in hand is the starting line. It is not the finish line. And the phrase that we have coined that it's not about writing a book, it's about writing the right book. Because too often people write crappy books. And even worse, an author who produces a good book with the wrong title or the wrong subtitle or the wrong structured table of contents. And then unfortunately, it doesn't create the buzz out in the marketplace and lead to more of what you specifically want to have happen in your business model. So we want to make sure that your book drives or is a gateway book to more coaching assignments, more consulting engagements, more keynote speeches, more training assignments, more online course registrations. So how you strategically put together your book and position your book is critically important. And our guest today is an expert, a recognized expert in the world of public relations and publicity and how to get the word out about the good work that you are called and compelled to do in terms of getting your book out there in a bigger way and taking your business to the level that you want. But before we introduce our guest, Jill, I'd love to just go around the horn here with the authors that we have. We believe that it is critical that our indie book authors, our authors and speakers support and serve and aid each other. So the question today, the short sharing that I want to open up or brief discussion is I want each of our authors to just share a tip, a nugget, something good to great that has happened as a result of their book, whether their book is in hand yet or not. It might be a learning on the way to getting his or her book published. So I'm going to start with Christopher Hodges and then David Goldman.
Okay, Chris Hodges, the name of my book is Emotionally Intelligent Automation. And the good thing that has happened so far from that is being able to reach out to senior people, senior executives who I've spoken to before. And the idea of automation scaring the hell out of people at work and making people very nervous has opened a bit of a floodgate of people willing to talk about that, because they're facing that at work, right? Automation scares everyone. So what's been fantastic is when you have a book and a very real point, it's not just a casual conversation anymore. It's, oh, you're writing about this? Let me say something reasonably intelligent then, right?
Sure.
Which has been, I don't know, Mark, if that's what you're looking for, but that's been a big epiphany. And I've learned a lot from listening to everybody on these calls.
Thank you, Christopher. That's exactly what I'm looking for. David, and then Irvin.
Hi, I'm David Goldman, and I wrote the book, The Road to Happiness, How to Get What You Really Want. And I'm going to be a little selfish and say that the best thing that happened out of this book was it made me clearer about who I serve and how I serve them best.
Thank you, David. Irvin?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Irvin Nugent, the
And then
author
Joe.
of Leadership Lessons from the Pub, Harnessing the Power of Emotional Intelligence to Build a Fully Engaged Workplace. And big news for me was I launched the book on St. Patrick's Day, and I had a wonderful launch party, which was a real celebration and joy. And a real good thing that came from that was I just was speaking to someone this morning who gave me some feedback. They just ordered an extra book for their dad. And the conversation went like, I would never read a leadership book. Oh, I think I might read a leadership book with that title. So I think the title is working its magic.
That's great, Irvin. Joe Palo and then John Lockhorst.
Thanks, Mark. I'm still relatively new. I don't have a book yet. I have a manuscript. So there's really no best thing yet. But what I have learned is just the sense of urgency to get it done and get it out of my mind and move on from there. And I'm excited about working with you guys, and we'll see where it goes. The title of the book is How to Sell Nothing.
I know. And Joe, maybe the best thing to date is that you and I got reconnected after you sold me a suit some 21 or 22 years ago. So it's great to have you. Thank you so much. It's great to have you a part of a member of the family.
Sure. Welcome to be here.
All right. Kim and then Mary.
Well, this is getting officially launched on April 5th. It's the damn plan, how to find freedom, love, and money in your business. And I tell you what, this has been a journey. They told me in the beginning it would be. They told me that if I wasn't changed when I was done with it, that I hadn't done a good job. And it changed me. Writing the book changed me. It made me a better coach. And that is showing up in my bottom line. It's showing up in my referrals. It's showing up in the opportunities that are presenting themselves. So everything anybody will tell you that is experienced in writing a book in the beginning is probably true if they took it all the way through the process and trusted the process.
Thank you, Kim. Mary, and then I'm going to circle back to John.
So hi, I'm Mary Schmid. My book, Make or Break Conversations, came out in October of this year, How Smart Financial Professionals Land and Keep New Clients. The best thing about the book is learning a consistent approach and daily discipline. And the success that I'm doing is, the success I'm celebrating today is one a day, one a day, one a day, and it leads to conversations. My first inbound conversation as a result of the book.
Oh, nice, Mary. I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks, Mark.
John and then Mason.
Hi, I'm John Lockhorst, and I am pleased to introduce for the very first time my new book, Mission Critical Leadership. Just got the proof copy yesterday. And Mark, I would say that my success moment is similar to Kim's in that writing the book has really helped to clarify my own point of view about leadership. And I know that that's going to make me a better coach, trainer, and speaker as well.
Nice, John. Thank you. Mason and then Teresa.
Hello, everybody. My book is called The Hutzpa Advantage. I received this first copy today. I want to thank everybody from Indie Books for their help with getting this out. Boy, lessons from the book. I'm going to go back, if I can, to the first book I wrote 15 years ago when my daughter, who I think was in the 4th or 5th grade, took my book to show and tell with her every day for a year. She only could show it once, but it was that important to her. So it's taken that much longer to do this. It's interesting. I will stay on the lighter side with this. In the dedication, I write, this book is dedicated to my loving and supportive wife, Robin, and my kids. And immediately my son writes back, shouldn't I correct that and say my second wife, Robin? So I said, you know, it's an interesting approach, but I think we'll keep the book the way it is. I'm looking forward to impacting people with the book, getting back out on speaking tours, and hopefully meeting a lot of the people that I've met on here in person over the next year.
Great. Thank you, Mason. Teresa and then Tawana.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Dr. Teresa Ashby, and I wrote the book called Better Implementation Now. And it is all about implementing on strategy. And I have had the fortune to be able to leverage this in a couple of ways. And one of them is really, it's my follow-up call to my discovery, right? I do a discovery call and then I send the book. It's creating an opportunity to have influence with other people, other clients. And now I have people wanting to be a part of my second book and creating stories. But Mark, one of the biggest things is that I'm a part of the Indie Family Publishing group now. And I can honestly say that is probably one of the most important things that my book has leveraged, having this relationship with everybody. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Teresa. Thank you. Tawana?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. So my book is under construction, and it's a leadership book. The working title is Leadership Lessons from the Camino, having been able to finish the Camino de Santiago. I'm toying with the idea of walking into self-awareness, leadership lessons from the Camino. So my aha is being welcomed into the family, the connections that I've been able to make, and those people who have been so open with their time and information and the sharing. It is just something that it just amazes me how open everyone is and how welcoming, and everyone's wanting you to succeed. And while you toy with the idea of writing a book, and when you start to do it, there's some moments when you're hesitant, but you have people like this group who says, oh, no, you can do it. And yeah, so my aha is, I think someone said earlier, being invited into the indie group. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Buen Camino to my fellow pilgrim. Nice to have you here. Good to see you.
Camino.
All right. Well, we are at that moment where I'm going to introduce our guest expert here this afternoon, and a dear friend of mine, an advocate of mine, and somebody that I've grown to respect, honor, and trust over the course of the last 20, I'm going to say about 22 years or so. But Jill Lublin speaks around the world on the topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She is the author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and the co-author of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Her latest book, Profit of Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories. She is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is the CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years of experience working with over 100,000 independent and practice professionals, plus the national and international media. She teaches a virtual, make a note, a virtual Publicity Crash Course, and consults and speaks all over the world. She helps authors to create book deals with major publishers and agents, as well as a unique specialty in obtaining foreign rights deals around the world. You may want to jot this down. Visit Publicity Crash Course, publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And will you please give a huge round of jazz hands, hearts, thumbs up to our friend, Jill Lublin.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Always such a blessing and privilege to be here with you, with Henry, with the Indy family. I'm just delighted to connect and support all of you today. And, I want to, if I may, give you some good tips and fun strategies to get your word out there, and then take some questions from you and interact live would be fantastic. So let me start with something I noticed as the intros were going on. I don't see your books, most of them. I just don't. Like, where are the books? Okay, so no, I mean, I saw them as you held them up. Absolutely. Yes, and I want your books. You notice, where are they books? I don't have to go very far, right? And so I think that's really an important piece for all of you, that you really have ways to front and center your books more. Amazon, $20, right? Really super. Because here's the problem: when they're on the shelves of some of you, I made a note, somebody's was a little far back, I couldn't even read it, the actual title. So just pay attention to that. That's really a key. And the other thing I want to show you is when you're holding your books, right? So this is Guerrilla Publicity. You will hold it slightly tilted because often the glare will go on from the lights. So just slightly tilted forward and at your face. A few of you held it down. Energetically, it brings the energy of the book down, and you will hold it at your face for what seems like a ridiculous amount of time. Take a breath and then hold it some more. And what I'm trying to tell you is that so many of you, actually, even as you were talking about your book, started putting it down. Now, David Goldman, good job on that. I know he's worked with me a little bit on this. So just, pay attention to all of the little things, because it's all of the little things that are going to get people paying attention to you. Okay, so that's a real key. And your message is where it begins. So, the thing, if I were to support all of you with a couple really important things, it is to get into media. It's not always about the book. And so I want you to start thinking beyond being a speaker or an author, of which I know all of you are. If you've got a book, you got to speak about it, right? If you're in the Indy family, you got a book. So that's a beautiful thing. But I want you to start expanding. Go like this, expanding. Go ahead, expanding how you think about your topic. And frankly, get into the media multiple ways, because when you're in the media, good news is you get to control your message. But we got to get you in there, right? And sometimes you got to throw the lines a number of ways. So I want to give you some great ideas for how to do that. One is check out nationaldaycalendar.com. And let's see, it was Irvine who you said, hey, guess what? I launched my book on the bar. I thought that was great. On St. Patty's Day. Yes, of course that fits. Yes, of course people would have fun. Yes, it ties right into holiday. David, you got a book on love. That's Valentine's Day. We have leadership books coming out, right? Lots of those, which is great. So I want you to start looking at, like, when's National Leadership Day, or whatever holiday fits in, go for it. So another way to find that out is go to Google Alerts and put in a few things. Number one, I want your names in there, official names, because, hey, we're going to have to find you as a speaker when media talks about you. And then also, for instance, with the Profit of Kindness coming out, I went into Google Alerts and I found out that, did you know November 13th is World Kindness Day? Well, neither did I. I didn't know it was World Kindness Day until I put the word kindness into Google Alerts. So now we have a World Kindness Summit. And now we have a Year of Kindness, an initiative I've launched. By the way, all of which keeps circling back to the profit of kindness. So can you get how that keeps connecting in, right? And so I think these are some really simple things to do, but authors often forget to do these systematic, ongoing visibility building activities that are key. The other thing I'd like you to do is follow reporters who talk about, I know leadership came up a lot, right? So follow reporters who have topics that are related to your topic. And that's fairly easy to do on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Go ahead, connect with them, make some comments. The point is, create yourself as a resource. You know, look at that word, that media, when they interview people, they interview sources. Isn't that interesting? The source. You're the source because you wrote the book on it. But I also, again, want you to be very creative with how you get into media more and more. Like a woman who runs the Women's Speakers Association, she's worked with me through my virtual publicity course and other ways. And, you know, one time she answered a query, and hopefully you know about this, but if you don't, write it down right now, which is help a reporter out, right? Great resource. She answered a query because she learned this from me about clutter. She said, oh, my office is always so cluttered. And okay, by the way, can anyone relate to this, or is it just me? Especially during the pandemic. I don't know. It's been kind of wild out here. So the point is, she answered this because I taught her to always just say yes. Catch that. Always say yes to the media. She saw something in Help a Reporter about a cluttered desk. She said, hey, I got a cluttered desk. I'm going to answer it. She's got a book. She runs the Women's Speakers Association. Guess what? She ended up in a women's magazine talking about clutter. By the way, driving people with a website to her organization, elevated her membership by 28%. We measured it, right? And on top of that, got people reading her books. In fact, in one blog, it was a blog, she actually got interviewed in that blog and sold, get this, 48 books within 15 minutes. Now that's what I'm talking about. I love how the media drives attention to you and creates that visibility factor that escalates you. But what I really want you to hear is you got to widen your message. And frankly, don't get attached to what your message is, right? How I got so much media on the Profit of Kindness is that I tapped into something that was frankly going wrong in our country, which I call the divided states of America. And that, my friends, got me on multiple Fox News networks. I mean, 8 of them in the first 7 days. 8 Fox News networks, check that out, right? And that was because of what I call pushing the right button. So I want you to think about, and maybe we can do a little hot seating on this, is what would be other ways that you could get yourself into the media? I like to call it using everything you've got. So I had a gentleman, he was 68. He wrote his first novel. Let's just call it his first book, right? At 68. And he owned an insurance company. Now, the reason that he got one of his biggest major media input was because we talked about having a third career, which actually was his third career, to write a book. And that got him into AARP, has the largest major national subscription magazine called, guess what? Modern Maturity. That's what he got in for. It sounds like he got into prison, but no, he got into media, which set him free to sell lots of books, my friends. And that's what I want you to do. Those of you who still have books coming out or are creating it and maybe don't even know what it is, create, an unofficial book cover, laminate it, and still put it up, right? Because what we're doing is creating visibility, especially with Zoom. I think you all have such incredible opportunities to create that visibility factor that gets people talking about you. So those are some key ones. Besides that, I want you to think about foreign rights. Listen, Mark mentioned it in my bio. I've been helping people get major book deals, but also foreign rights deals for many years. And you can be teaching now we know, right? Virtually webinars in many countries. The Profit of Kindness is out in India. I just saw, I'm so excited. This is my news, my book cover in Russian, because it got picked up in Russia. And actually, during the pandemic, I got a check from Russia for foreign rights. So what I love about this is there are income streams, not only from the advance, but also from the ongoing sales, the webinars, and the teachings that you can do in multiple countries. By the way, I'm hoping it says The Profit of Kindness on the cover. I don't know Russian, but I'm figuring and hoping and praying it says the profit of kindness. So what I want you to do, and then I'm going to open it up for some Q&A and interaction, is I want you to be with your message. Like, what is it in your message that's about the book or about anything else, maybe that you can be talking about to expand it? Like I was saying about the profit of kindness, the way it got so much play was the divided states of America. That was the story, my friends. Not, ooh, Jill's got a new book out. Like, I'm excited, you're excited, Mark and Henry are excited, your mama's excited, but really it's about what's going to serve the others, what's going to give value and benefit to others. And that's what you got to be talking about. And so I like to answer this question about what is the problem today, and put that out there. Like, I had a woman who wrote a book about dating. Can I tell you, by following this particular strategy, she was on Zoom all day with major network after major network. You know what she was talking about? She's a dating coach who wrote a book about dating and how to find the one. Do you know what she was talking about all day? She was talking about, can a Democrat date a Republican, and can a Republican date a Democrat? Because it was the election, and as we know, it was very heated. And I said to her, this is the story that's going to get you great visibility, great publicity, and it worked all day long. She's not a dating expert in politics, but by the way, it turns out you just have to communicate well. So with that, I thought that was a really interesting twist that got her a lot of great publicity, sold a lot of books, got her speaking engagements, and created an ongoing national interactive reputation, which puts her to the front of the line. And, you know, media is so powerful to multiply your message. I love to call it an attraction factor that really brings prospects and clients and readers and consulting gigs and speaking gigs to your door. And that, my friends, is what matters about writing a book and getting out there, right? And so be willing to expand the possibilities of what you're doing. I want you to use everything you've got. You know, for the women, it's International Women's Month, right? We just passed Black History Month. Like, if you're Hispanic, go to Hispanic media, and so on and so forth. Use all aspects of who you are, because guess what? There's a lot of media out there. Christian media, Jewish media, African-American media, you name it, we got it. So let's find what suits and fits you, what you can be using that maybe you just hadn't looked at before. And with that, what I'd love to do is just open it up. Mark, if there's some questions that you can think of, or maybe we can support some others very specifically, I'd love to do that.
For sure. Thank you so much, Jill. Would you give it up for Jill here before we take a few questions? And I do have some questions for you. And if any of our listeners have a question, please drop it in the chat box. And in the time that we have, we will get to as many questions as we can. Jill, first question is, how do you define an expert?
Well, I'm looking at, let's see, at least 18 of them. Because you know what, here's the thing, you just got to claim it. You got to claim it. But here, if I were to say, what's an expert? Experts solve problems. They solve problems. You are all experts. You wrote the book, you're writing books, you speak, you consult, people pay you for your advice. That's an expert. It's that simple. Claim it.
I have a follow-up to that. Because, and you know me, I've always leaned towards a positive outcome in that attraction phase of the marketing and selling process. And what I'm hearing is I may have better luck if I go to the corresponding problem in the marketplace that my readers are facing. Would you agree with that, or could you shed some light on that?
I think that would be great to shift it. Like, you know, here's the thing, we're in the, as far as I'm concerned, you know, we're still in a pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. People have issues around leadership, attracting sales, making more money, health, feeling good, mindset, transformation. that's some of the hot topics I've seen in the media. So you want to be pushing those hot buttons, right? And if you have something, like I saw somebody get in media with a leadership kind of focus about leadership in uncertain times. This is a hot topic. Or how about how all companies are shifting, and how do you be, let's say, I picked leadership because I heard a lot of it as you were all giving your presentations, and that's a hot topic for right now. So here's the thing I want you all to know. I want you to plant your publicity garden. You're planting now for the seeds that are blooming right now. Let's say you got a book out right now, but also you plant 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. And I will share with you that for the Profit of Kindness, we planted seeds for a year ahead. So I had a 1-year plan, a 9-month plan, a 6-month plan, a 3-month plan, a 1-week plan, day of. You get the point, right? And guess what? We had activities literally planned, especially for creating media and also joint venture partners and people who would be willing to help spread the word. So don't forget your friends, your circle, your community to ask for help. Meaning, hey, help me spread the word on your social media. Please buy my book. That's a beautiful thing.
That I think that's very hard for many of us, Jill, to raise our hands and ask for help. I think my phrase for the day is ask and you will succeed.
Beautiful.
Here's a question, and I think this is part of your intellectual property, but help us understand what is, or what your ooh-ah factor is.
Okay, I love the ooh-ah factor. And that is finding something that maybe you hadn't told people. Like I had a financial planner, and he wrote a book about how to invest well. Well, it turns out his wife had breast cancer, and still she's doing very well. But he said, I had no idea what to do. And you know what he created was a guy's guide to breast cancer. Another book, by the way, which got him into October, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And he, as a man, was all over the media talking about what to do if the person you love or somebody you know has breast cancer. How do you help? So that's a powerful story, which, by the way, built his business. He actually got 9 clients from one particular podcast he was on. His web stats went up, elevated by 37%. We measured it because I think it is important to measure ROI on publicity. That's a beautiful thing. And consistently, I see elevation with high return on investment, more prospects and more clients, right? But these are using ooh-ah factors. Maybe it's your personal story, something that happened, maybe you got downsized from a corporate job, and what would be that story working virtually, which is now completely relevant. So I want you to look at all aspects of who you are, your personal story, the stories that maybe you've been afraid to tell people or are more vulnerable, and that might be the story that actually gets you into media. I actually got into media, into Women's Day, huge national magazine, talking about my volunteerism, having nothing to do, by the way, with any book I write or anything I teach, but really, part of who I am. What do you need to speak about, talk about, get in with, that's your ooh-ah factor? That could be the essential story that will start creating attention to you. It's a super good question. Definitely ask yourself, or even better yet, ask someone else. What do you think's interesting about me? What do you go ooh-ah about when you hear my story, right? Because it's often not even what you think.
That's interesting, Jill. Thank you so much for that. Now, I've been in some of your presentations before, and I know that you have what you call a secret sauce formula for creating a great media script. So if you could talk a little bit to that, but I also want to add a little twist into this question, and that is, I set everyone up in that when we went around the horn to share our name, book title, and something positive about the book. And I think that if you were to look back at the scripts, whether they were short or medium length in nature, you probably could critique one or two of those scripts. But if we had to re-roll the tape and we gave everyone an opportunity to do that again, is there a formula for how you might suggest we go about that 15 to 30 second introduction and put a pin light on something regarding the book?
Sure. Well, okay, so there's two things here. One is the media message, right? And I'd like to give you a formula for that. And then I want to answer that second part, if I might, Mark. So the first part is my secret sauce is the problem today is. The problem today is, and then fill in that blank, but don't say anything related to you. I want you to think about other people out there. Really, like, what's the problem out there? Which is why I'm putting in, what about uncertain times, which we are now in? What about the new economy, the COVID economy? What about, I'm giving you some hints here about what you could create as a problem out there, right? And then I want you to think of 3 solutions, like give people real solutions and make them, this is the key, appetizers, not full meals. So you want to give people, they're called sound bites. Give them sound bites. Like one of my takeaways for, what as an example of this is to create your ooh, ah factor. And that's my number 2 point, right? So you want to give people real things. You want to make them go, oh, that's interesting. You want to make them stop for a moment and even maybe pause. That would be good. Okay. And I'm going to teach you something else super cool. And so create a problem, give 3 solutions. That would help. And be ready with this to be called on at any moment, because a lot of us are in networking groups. And guess what? You got 30 seconds to a minute, maybe max, to make that quick intro. Now, with that, I want to say 2 things. One is with your scripts, so to speak, and I want this to be a script. Can I just say, I want it to be a script. Why? Because every day is different. You might feel better or worse or whatever. And here's the truth. The media doesn't care about how you feel, nor do the people in the networking groups. They just want to be, shall we say, impressed by you. Even if it's the 30 seconds, you want to make that great impression. You want to come on strong, because you know what, my friends, you don't get that second chance to make that first impression with your book, or for people to go, well, what'd he say? What'd she say? I didn't quite hear it. Because I want you to be that force of expression, that interested party in your own book, in your own topic. I know you might be bored of it, but we didn't even hear it yet. Can you get what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up if you can get what I'm saying, right? Yeah, thank you. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, are they really interested in what they're talking about? I'm not sure. So I want you to come out the gate strong. And one way to do that is, you might say, listen, the problem today is leadership in uncertain times. And with my book, okay, then you hold the book, you hold it for people to get focused on it, and then do your next part. Put it down gently. Don't throw it down, but put it down gently. Once you held it up for long enough for people to zoom in on it, literally. So that's a key. Now, can I give them a really hot, this is my super secret sock drawer tip.
Go for it.
I don't even have a sock drawer, but actually I do have a sock drawer, but this is like the part where I hide under the socks things that maybe people shouldn't see, but I'm going to tell you because this is fun. You ready? All right. Here's what you do. In your message, in your intro, and in a media thing, like for instance, when you put together that problem today formula and then 3 solutions, what you're going to do is you're going to integrate the book title, or at least one word from it, at least maybe 2 words from it, maybe your consulting or your program that you launched. Now, let me show you how I do this. Okay, so I'm going to actually demonstrate it to you. And I'll give you, this is my formula. The problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. I want to give you, now pay attention here, 3 guerrilla publicity tips today for how to get your message in the media. The first way to get noticed is to create your ooh, ah factor. The second way is to create the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And the third way is focus on networking magic and show up in your communities at least twice a month for name and face recognition. Now, my friends, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I have to tell you, I've done this in front of groups of a lot of people, and I'll go, hey, what do I do there? And they're all kind of looking at me, you know. It depends. My books, of course, are right in the front of the room, you know, and or also in the back of the room, wherever they are. And it amazes me how many people miss this. Some people might catch guerrilla publicity, maybe. They certainly don't catch all 3. So what am I saying? I want you to insert the name of your book, or at least one word, to put it in people's consciousness so that your books keep getting into them. Now, the other thing about this message, it has to align with who you are, has to be authentic with your personality and what you represent. So make sure of that, because this is the script that I want so that when you wake up at 4 a.m, I'm here in California. If I'm doing a radio show in New York, Boston, etc., guess what? I'm waking up at 4 a.m. so I can go on those morning drives and or give a presentation at whatever time in the morning, right? So make sure that this is really part of you, so that it doesn't matter how you feel, but this is a super fabulous strategy for creating that consistency. And, you know, that's a real key too about media, about your message, is that you need to be consistent and persistent, which is why I say it might bore you after a while. It's okay. We quite haven't heard it yet, or people will hear you in a new way. People will hear it in a new way, and that's powerful too.
Thank you, Jill. That was exactly what I was looking for. And your lead-in, the problem today, is brilliant. Thank you so much. One last question, and then I'm hoping that you have a special offer for us. Tell us about how you define ROI on the publicity strategy.
Absolutely. So listen, I've been doing publicity, gosh, 30 years, right? With all kinds of authors and speakers, consultants. And of course, I am one too. So I have to walk this path, right? And I got to make sure this stuff works. So here's what I've noticed is consistency will pay off. And, you know, occasionally, by the way, you'll get like literally a boom of publicity. I definitely want you orienting it toward a book release and launch, but you don't just stop there, because here's what I know about publicity. And listen, I'm on my 3rd edition of Guerrilla Publicity. Why? Because we keep selling it, because we keep promoting it, because it's timeless and fabulous knowledge. And I will tell you something, your book is your legacy. You want it to keep, to stay out there, to have people pay attention to it, to keep hiring you because of it, to keep buying it. But to me, buying the book is only part of this. You know, I say, thank you for my lunch money. Thank you for my lunch money. And I can hardly buy lunch with it these days. But the reality is that this is about exposing far more of who you are, so that you get in front of audiences and that you get paid the much higher fees and really make what you're worth for both consulting and speaking. So what I've seen with the power of what publicity does is it gives you that credibility, that visibility. It gets you more clients and prospects. It gives you exposure in the marketplace, and I only mean the good kind. And it frankly makes you money, but it also saves you money, because the people I'm working with, hey, guess what? They're not doing a ton of other expensive marketing, because the publicity is free, so that it's driving and generating attention to you, right? And that I consistently see people selling a lot of books fast through media interviews. And also, interestingly enough, I don't know about you, but this has happened a couple times, not only to me, but many of my clients. People will connect to you, I don't, could be 3 months later, 6 months later. I've been saving that article. You know, I heard you on that podcast, they will say. I like to call this the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. It's my favorite kind of syndrome for you to have.
Thank you so much, Jill. And my hope now is, and I'm pretty confident that you have something that we would all be interested in hearing.
Oh, thank you so much. Absolutely. So listen, I've been working with entrepreneurs and small business owners, authors, consultants, speakers just like you for many years. And I decided to put together a blueprint, but not only a blueprint, this is a virtual publicity class. You take it from the comfort of your own home, and we are going to get done 3 documents, right? 3 documents that you need for the media to say yes to you. This is live and interactive with me. So if you think this is fun, wait till you spend a virtual day with me, all right? And on top of that, you're gonna leave with a 30, 60, and 90-day system. We're gonna get it done right there. We're gonna do interactive live breakout sessions. And I have the best people on the planet in the course, but it's really about getting your publicity done so that the media says yes to you. So I'm spilling all the secrets and telling you things, frankly, that most people will never tell you. Listen, I owned a PR agency, and you know, my fee was $5,000 a month, and we worked together for 6 months. Those were beautiful days, but really what my heart called me to work with people just like you and to put together a system that actually works. So it's called the Publicity Crash Course. The link is in the chat, publicitycrashcourse.com. And super good news for you, because frankly, I don't have to fly around anymore. And we figured out a beautiful flow to do this live virtual course. I'm doing pandemic pricing. That's the really good offer. And what it is, and let's put the code in the chat, put the code Stay Visible. It's all lowercase and case sensitive, Stay Visible. Please use that code, and that will get you the whole course for only $197. Yay.
Thank you, Jill. And would you tell our audience what your in-person fee was for this course?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, if you go to the website, $1,297.
Yeah.
Okay, it was over $1,000. So now it was my Bring a Friend offer. It's a great offer. My pandemic pricing, it's because we don't have to go anywhere. It's so much easier. And I want to bring that to you.
And you have done this course all over the United States and across Canada. And so to do this for $197, I think in our next coaching session, I'm going to have you raise it. So I hope that everyone will take advantage of it. And Jill, you can count me in as a registrant for one of your upcoming courses myself. I want to circle back to something you said that I hope people heard and jotted down, or maybe you can give a little bit more detail to it, because I'm subscribed to it, and it's help a reporter out. Could you just give us 30 seconds on that? Just explain that and where they can go.
Absolutely. So Help a Reporter Out is a fabulous, it's a website which basically has media people connected and wanting you, like right now, because they're on deadline. Did I mention media people are always on deadline? They are. They need people fast, focused, simple, concise, and ready, my friends, ready, which is what I'm going to make you, is ready. So that when the media says, can you talk about this? Your answer is yes, right? You always want to say yes. So the point is that Help a Reporter has fabulous, and you can Google that in, it will bring you right to their website, Help a Reporter Out. And they have media people who are putting out, they're called queries. They're putting out queries looking for people just like you. And they're asking questions.
And that's Help a Reporter Out, HARO. And I get a query list morning and night every single day. So there is no excuse for not being a part of Help a Reporter Out and surfing their requests and finding opportunities for you to help a reporter out and get noticed in the media.
And
One
Mark,
last,
may I say one thing about that on Help a
Yes.
Reporter Out? Put your blinders on. Only pay attention to, if you're in business, just the business queries. Do not look the other way. Do not look at any other thing else. Just put your queries on. It's also put your blinders on. And it's also a really good thing to let your virtual assistant do as a first pass, and then you take the next pass, and then have your bio quickly done, which means 4 sentences. We're going to actually do it in the course. And simple, and get something you can rinse and repeat. It is about rinse and repeat, at least the bio part, and a quick intro. Hi, I saw your piece in Harrow. Here's my answer, kind of thing.
Nice, beautiful. Do you have 1 or 2 more resources that you can share?
Absolutely. So hopefully, did you put in nationaldaycalendar.com? I want to make sure that's in, because that's a really good resource, and I want you to pay attention to that. And then also, it's not a resource per se, but I want you to think about going into iTunes, and type in keywords, and particularly look for a match for you under that thing. But you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, Podmatch is a really good, another resource, podmatch.com. Another great resource to find excellent podcasts that you can be on, Podmatch. But also do it through iTunes, just because there's lots of stuff there.
Jill, how can we thank you? Everybody give it up for Jill Lublin. Jill, thank you so much for the good work that you are called and compelled to do, not just in publicity and in public relations and helping us get the word out. You are a wealth and a treasure chest of resources, tips, ideas, and I want to thank you for that. But I also want to thank you for your book, The Profit of Kindness, and your personal mission and ministry to help the world be more civil and more respectful, and to make kindness a best practice. I love you, Jill. Thank you so much. And everybody give it up one more time for Jill Lublin.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Privileged to be here.